Commander Alan Kelly stood tall in the massive council chambers. His blue uniform was spotless. He took a deep breath as he looked around at the hundreds of alien representatives. This was the first time any human had addressed the Galactic Council. His mission was simple but crucial: convince these aliens that humans deserved a place among the stars. The chamber itself was a wonder of alien engineering. It stretched up so high that Kelly had to crane his neck to see the top levels. Curved. Rows of seats rose in perfect rings around a central platform where Kelly now stood. Each seat held a different alien species, some with multiple limbs, others with scales or fur, some that looked like walking plants or floating clouds of gas. At the highest point sat the 7 High Counselors. These were the representatives of the founding species who had created the Galactic Council thousands of years ago. Their word was law in this part of the galaxy. Kelly felt a drop of sweat roll down his back under his uniform. Earth had only been discovered by alien scouts 3 months ago. Everything that happened here would decide humanity's future. Would they be welcomed as equals, treated as primitives, or worse, seen as a threat to be contained? Representatives of Earth, said High Counselor Zexatera, their voice booming through the translation devices in Kelly's ear. Zexatera had no mouth that Kelly could see. Instead, patterns of light rippled across their translucent body as they spoke. You may present your case for consideration. Kelly nodded and began the speech he had practiced 100 times. Honorable counselors, distinguished representatives of the galactic community, I stand before you on behalf of humanity and Earth. We are honored to be welcomed into these chambers and grateful for the opportunity to join the greater community of intelligent species. From her position beside Kelly, Ambassador Lisa Rodriguez watched the reactions of the aliens carefully. She had spent weeks studying the little they knew about alien body language. Some species seemed interested, others bored. A few showed signs that might be hostility. Humanity is a young species by your standards, Kelly continued. We have only explored our own solar system so far, but we have a rich history of art, science, and culture. We have overcome many challenges on our world. We have ended wars between our nations and begun to heal the damage we once did to our planet. In the observation gallery above the main floor, Lieutenant Jack Foster whispered to diplomat Susan Green. They don't look impressed. Green nodded slightly. Stay calm. Remember our training. First contact protocol is clear. We show only our best side. Everyone here was chosen for their ability to stay cool under pressure. Foster glanced around at the other aliens in the gallery. Most ignored the humans completely. A few stared openly, their alien eyes unreadable. I don't like how that insect-looking group keeps watching us. Those are the Drevcal, Green whispered back. One of the older species in the council. Very powerful, very traditional. Keep your voice down. Some species have excellent hearing. Down on the speaking platform, Kelly was showing holograms of Earth's greatest achievements, the arts, architecture, medical breakthroughs, and environmental restoration projects. We seek to learn from the wisdom of the Council, Kelly said. We offer our creativity, our resourcefulness, and our friendship. Humanity wishes to join as a provisional member to learn your ways and prove our worth. High Counselor Zextara's lights pulsed slowly. Your presentation is noted, Commander Kelly. However, the Council has concerns. Our preliminary studies of your species reveal troubling patterns. A large hologram appeared above the central platform. It showed scenes from human history, battles, weapons, environmental damage. Your species has an unusual tendency toward violence, continued Zextara. Your bodies are remarkably durable. Your history shows constant warfare. Even your entertainment often focuses on conflict. These are concerning traits. Kelly had been warned this might happen. The diplomatic team had prepared for it. He kept his face calm and his voice steady. With respect, Counselor, these images show our past, not our present or our future. All intelligent species must overcome their primitive instincts. Humans have worked hard to move beyond violence as a solution. We have maintained global peace for over 40 years. Another counselor spoke up. this one a massive being with thick armored plates covering its body. Pretty words, but biology does not change so quickly. Humans evolved as pursuit predators. You have unusual stamina, surprising strength for your size, and troubling pack-hunting behaviors. Rodriguez stepped forward. Counselor, those same traits have other applications. Our stamina led us to explore our entire planet. Our strength built great cities. Our social nature created complex cultures and art. A trait is just a trait. It's how it's used that matters. In the gallery, Foster shifted uncomfortably. They're treating us like we're dangerous animals. Green sighed, quietly. We expected some prejudice, that's why we're on polite mode, as the brass calls it. Every human here was selected for exceptional diplomatic skills and emotional control. We need to show them our best face. Kelly was handling the questions well. Each time a counselor raised a concern about humanity, he acknowledged it honestly, but redirected the conversation toward humanity's potential as allies. Yes, humans can be territorial, but that same instinct makes us protective of allies. Yes, we adapt quickly to new situations, a trait that could benefit trade and cultural exchange. After nearly 3 hours of questioning, Zexatara raised a limb for silence. We have heard enough for today. The human delegation will be provided quarters on the station. We will continue these discussions tomorrow. The council needs time to consider what we have learned. As the human delegation was escorted from the chamber, Kelly maintained his diplomatic smile until they were alone in the corridor. That went about as expected, he said, finally letting his shoulders drop slightly. Rodriguez nodded. They're wary, but not hostile. Several smaller council members seemed interested in what we had to offer. I noticed the Drevcal representatives watching us closely, Foster said as he and Green joined them. Something about them feels off. Kelly's face grew serious. We maintain protocol. Perfect behavior, perfect control. Remember, every human in this station represents Earth. We are on our absolute best behavior. Green smiled. Polite mode stays firmly on. None of them could know that within 2 weeks the council would witness something no alien species was prepared for. What happened when humanity's carefully maintained polite mode was switched off? As they walked to their assigned quarters, Kelly felt both hope and worry. The path to acceptance would not be easy, but humans were nothing if not persistent. They would earn their place among the stars, one way or another. 2 weeks passed. The human delegation settled into a routine on the massive council station. Each day, Commander Kelly and Ambassador Rodriguez attended meetings, answered questions, and slowly built relationships with different alien species. They were making progress. Several smaller council races had shown interest in trade deals. A few even supported Earth's bid for provisional membership. The station itself was a marvel, a city in space where hundreds of species lived and worked together. The humans had been given a small section to call their own during the talks. Their quarters were comfortable but constantly monitored. They're still watching us, Foster said one morning, as he and Green ate breakfast in their shared common area. The food was Earth-style but made from alien ingredients. It tasted almost right, but not quite. Green nodded. Of course they are. We're the new kids. They want to see how we behave when we think no one's looking. Rodriguez entered, carrying a data tablet. Good news. The Merendi delegation has officially supported our application. That makes 5 species now backing our membership. Kelly joined them, his face more serious than usual. Don't celebrate yet, we have a problem. The Drevcal have requested a special session today. They've been quiet so far, but my contacts say they're planning something. The team arrived at the council chambers early. Other species filed in, some nodding respectfully to the humans, others keeping their distance. The 7 high counselors took their elevated positions last. This special session has been called by the Drevcal delegation, announced Zexatara, their body pulsing with light patterns. War Strategos Kritik, you have the floor. The Drevcal representative rose from his seat. He looked like a cross between an insect and a lizard, standing on 2 legs with 4 additional limbs folded neatly against his chest. His exoskeleton was deep green with red markings. His compound eyes seemed to catch every movement in the room. "Esteemed Council," Kritik began, his words translated through the system. His voice came through as a series of clicks and whistles in the original language. "For 2 weeks we have observed these humans. We have studied their history more deeply than our colleagues. We have also scanned their solar system extensively." Kelly frowned slightly. The Drevcal had no permission to scan Earth's system. The third planet in their system, what they call Earth, contains rare mineral deposits that are vital to Drevcal interests, continued Kritik. "As senior council members with 9,000 years of standing, we claim territorial rights to this system as per Statute 447 of the expansion codes." The chamber went completely silent. Kelly's diplomatic smile froze on his face, though his eyes hardened. "That would be an unacceptable arrangement," he said carefully, keeping his voice level despite the shocking claim. "Earth is our homeworld. It has over 10 billion human inhabitants." Kritik's mandibles clicked rapidly. "The inhabitants could remain as a managed workforce. This is standard procedure." Rodriguez stepped forward. "With respect, War Strategos, you're suggesting humans become a client species to the Drevcal. That is not why we came to the council." In the observation gallery, Foster whispered to Green, "Can they do this? Just claim an inhabited planet?" Green's professional mask slipped slightly. "Not usually, no. But the Drevcal are one of the oldest council members. They have special privileges. This is bad. Very bad." High Councilor Zexitara raised a limb. "Perhaps a compromise is possible. The Drevcal could establish mining operations on your world, with humans providing labor under their guidance. Many younger species have benefited from such arrangements." Kelly took a slow breath before responding. His training in diplomatic protocol ran deep. "Counselor, with all due respect, Earth is not an undeveloped world. We have our own industries, governments, and sovereignty. We came here seeking equal partnership, not oversight." Another counselor, a massive being covered in armored plates, spoke up. "You misunderstand your position, human. Your species is primitive by our standards. Your technology is centuries behind most council races. The Drevcal offer is generous." Rodriguez tried another approach. "Our technology may be less advanced, but our culture and our rights to self-determination are no less valuable. Surely the council recognizes the principle of sovereign homeworlds." Kritik made a dismissive gesture with one of his upper limbs. "Sovereignty is earned through strength or age. Your species has neither. You should be grateful for Drevcal protection. There are predatory powers beyond council space that would not be as generous." Kelly's jaw tightened slightly, the first visible crack in his diplomatic facade. "We are not seeking protection or patronage. We are an independent species offering friendship and cooperation." From the gallery, Foster watched as the mood in the chamber shifted. Many species seemed uncomfortable with the Drevcal claim, but none spoke against it openly. "This isn't right," he muttered to Green. "They're talking about Earth like it's an uninhabited rock they can just take." Green nodded, her own composure slipping. "Kelly and Rodriguez are trying to maintain protocol, but this goes beyond what we prepared for. The Drevcal must have planned this from the start." Down on the main floor, the debate continued. The Drevcal delegation remained firm in their claim. Kelly and Rodriguez argued Earth's case with carefully measured words, never raising their voices or showing anger despite the outrageous situation. Finally, Zextara called for order. "We will adjourn to consider this matter. The Drevcal claim is significant and requires proper deliberation. All parties will return tomorrow for our decision." As the chamber emptied, Kelly gathered his team in a private room secured against listening devices. "This changes everything," he said, finally letting his diplomatic mask fall away. His eyes were hard now, his voice tight with controlled anger. "The Drevcal never intended to accept us as equals. They've been planning this claim from the beginning." Rodriguez paced the small room. "We need to contact Earth immediately. The Security Council needs to know what's happening." Foster spoke up. "Sir, what happens if the Council rules in favor of the Drevcal?" Kelly's expression was grim. "We have contingency plans. Earth anticipated that not all species would welcome us with open arms. Are we still maintaining protocol? Green asked. Still in polite mode? Kelly was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded slowly. For now, yes. We give diplomacy every possible chance to succeed. But we also prepare for the alternative. I'm authorizing Security Protocol Omega. Send the coded message to Earth. Rodriguez looked at him sharply. Omega, are you sure? I know what it is, Kelly said firmly. It's a last resort. But I want the option ready if we need it. As they left the secure room, Kelly's face transformed back into the picture of diplomatic calm. No one watching would guess the storm brewing. Inside, we play this by the book, he told his team quietly. Perfect behavior, perfect control, but we also make it clear that Earth is not up for negotiation. What none of the aliens realized was that humanity's carefully maintained diplomatic approach was hanging by a thread, and if that thread broke, the galaxy would see a side of humans they never expected. The next morning brought no relief. The human delegation entered the council chambers to find most species avoiding eye contact. It was not a good sign. Kelly and Rodriguez took their positions on the speaking platform, faces calm despite the tension in the air. High Counselor Zextara's body pulsed with slow, deliberate patterns of light. After consideration, the Council acknowledges the Drevcal claim under Statute 447. However, given the inhabited status of the planet in question, we propose a transitional period of 50 years for humans to adapt to Drevcal administration. Kelly's expression didn't change, but those who knew him well could see the slight tightening around his eyes. Counselor, I must respectfully reject this proposal in its entirety. Earth is not available for claim by any species, regardless of their standing in the Council. War Strategos. Kritik's mandibles clicked rapidly. Your rejection is noted, but irrelevant. The decision has been made. Drevcal ships are already moving to establish a presence in your system. This news sent a ripple of shock through the human delegation. Foster and Green exchanged alarmed glances from their position in the gallery. You've sent ships to Earth without authorization? Rodriguez asked, her voice still controlled but sharper than before. That is an act of aggression against a sovereign world. It is standard procedure, replied Kritik. The human military is primitive. A show of force will prevent unnecessary resistance and casualties. Kelly's hand moved to his communication device. He pressed a single button, a signal to his team. Then he straightened and addressed the Council again. I request a brief recess to consult with my government regarding these developments. Zexitara waved a limb in agreement. 1 hour. The human delegation retreated to their secure room. Moment the door sealed. Kelly's diplomatic mask fell away completely. They've already dispatched ships, he said, his voice hard. This was never going to be a fair hearing. The Drevcal planned to take Earth from the beginning. Rodriguez nodded grimly. Protocol Omega? Activated, Kelly confirmed. I sent the signal during the session. Earth will respond accordingly. Foster looked between them. What exactly is Protocol Omega? I wasn't briefed on the details. Kelly's eyes met his. It's time for the Council to see the full picture of humanity. We've been operating under First Contact Protocol, presenting only our most diplomatic face, hiding much of our true capabilities. Omega reverses that approach. You mean, Green began. I mean it's time to turn off polite mode, Kelly said, simply. Back in the Council chambers an hour later, the atmosphere had changed. The human delegation stood straighter, their expressions no longer carefully pleasant but neutral and focused. Kelly had changed from his formal diplomatic uniform to a simpler, more functional outfit with military styling. Counselors, Kelly began without waiting for permission to speak. Before these proceedings continue, I need to correct some misunderstandings about humanity. He activated a holographic display showing the Sol system. The Council seems to be operating under several misconceptions. First, regarding our technological status. You have been dealing with our diplomatic corps, trained specifically in what we call polite mode, a carefully cultivated approach designed to make first contact as smooth as possible. He zoomed in on Earth's orbital infrastructure. What your scans detected represents less than 10% of our actual capabilities. The rest remains hidden, as per our first contact protocols. A murmur ran through the council chambers. The Drevcal delegation shifted, their posture suddenly alert. Humans achieved global peace not because we eliminated violence from our nature, Kelly continued, but because we learned to channel our more aggressive tendencies into constructive outlets. We developed technologies that allowed us to harness our competitive spirit without destroying ourselves. Rodriguez stepped forward. We had hoped to gradually introduce our full capabilities, but given the Drevcal's claims on our homeworld and the dispatching of their fleet, we feel full disclosure is now necessary. Kelly adjusted the hologram to show massive orbital defense platforms that had been concealed from initial scans by advanced cloaking technology. Then he displayed footage from human history, not the sanitized version they had shown before, but scenes of warfare from ancient battles to modern conflicts. What you are witnessing, Kelly explained, is humanity's capacity to develop military technology at a rate unparalleled in the historical records we've accessed from your archives. Foster and Green watched from the gallery as the council members reacted with varying degrees of shock and disbelief. We don't show you this to threaten, Rodriguez added quickly. We simply want to correct misperceptions about our species. Humanity sought peaceful contact, but we are not helpless. And we will not become a client species or surrender our homeworld. War strategos. Kritik rose from his seat. These are empty claims. If humans possessed such capabilities, our scans would have detected them. Kelly's expression hardened further. Your scans detected exactly what we allowed them to detect, War strategos. And regarding your fleet, he touched his communication device again. You should be receiving updated information shortly. As if on cue, alerts began sounding throughout the council station. The main view screen activated automatically, showing a tactical display of the Drevcal fleet approaching the Sol system. But there was something else. Multiple unknown signatures had appeared around the Drevcal ships. Human vessels that had somehow remained completely invisible until now. Impossible, hissed Kritik. No species has cloaking technology that can evade our sensors. Humanity has spent much of its history in conflict, Kelly said quietly. It made us very good at hiding when necessary. The view screen showed the human vessels taking position around the Drevcal fleet, not firing but clearly in a position of advantage. Your ships will be escorted safely out of our system, Kelly continued. They will not be harmed unless they show hostile intent. Humanity does not wish for conflict with the Drevcal or any council species, but we will defend our home. The council chambers had fallen completely silent. The high councilors conferred among themselves, clearly shaken. By this turn of events, finally, Zexatera spoke. Commander Kelly, you have deliberately misled the council about human capabilities. Kelly met their gaze steadily. With respect, Counselor, we revealed exactly who we are. A species seeking peaceful relations. We simply withheld the full extent of our defense capabilities, as any prudent species would when meeting potentially hostile powers. Given the Drevcal's actions today, that caution seems justified. From the observation gallery, Foster whispered to Green. I think polite mode is officially off, Green nodded. And the council is about to learn what that really means. The council chambers erupted into chaos. Some alien representatives demanded humanity's immediate removal from the station. Others called for a full investigation. A few smaller species simply watched with what might have been the alien equivalent of smiles, clearly not unhappy to see the Drevcal caught by surprise. Kelly stood calmly in the center of the storm, no longer playing the role of humble diplomat. Beside him, Rodriguez remained equally composed. They had prepared for this moment, knowing it might become necessary. Order, demanded Zexatara, their body flashing with bright patterns. We will have order in these chambers. Gradually, the noise subsided. The Drevcal delegation huddled together, mandibles clicking rapidly as they conferred. These claims require verification, Zexatara announced. Commander Kelly, we will need proof of these supposed capabilities. Kelly nodded once. That's reasonable. However, I should inform you that he was interrupted by another alert sounding throughout the station. The main view screen changed to show a new vessel approaching the council station itself. It wasn't one of the diplomatic shuttles the humans had arrived in. This ship was clearly a warship, sleek, powerful, and somehow bypassing all of the council's defensive perimeter without triggering alarms until it was already close. On screen appeared a woman in a dark uniform with command insignia. Her expression was serious, without any of the diplomatic softness the council had seen from Kelly and Rodriguez. This is Captain Nicole Winters of the Earth Defense Force ship Vigilance, she stated firmly. We received a distress signal from our diplomatic team. Council leadership be advised that Earth has activated its defense protocols. We have deployed our fleet throughout this sector. We are not hostile, but we will protect our people. The Council's own sensors confirmed what seemed impossible. Human vessels had positioned themselves near every major Council world, somehow evading the most sophisticated detection systems in the galaxy. Kelly stepped forward again. What you're seeing is humanity without polite mode. We genuinely sought peaceful relations, but not at the cost of our sovereignty. Kritik rose, his posture rigid with anger. This is an act of war. They have threatened the homeworlds of Council species. No, Rodriguez countered immediately. We have threatened no one. Our ships have strict orders not to fire unless fired upon. They are simply positioned to demonstrate that we cannot be bullied or colonized. From the observation gallery, Foster and Green watched the unfolding scene with mixed emotions. I never knew we had this kind of capability, Foster whispered. They kept it from us too. Green nodded. Need-to-know basis. Only the highest levels of the diplomatic corps were briefed on our true military strength. Better that way. Our reactions during negotiations were more genuine. Back on the floor, another council member, the avian Pelnari, had stepped forward. Unlike many others, she seemed more curious than frightened. How did humans develop such technology without detection? She asked. Our surveys of your communications networks showed nothing of these capabilities. Kelly smiled slightly. Throughout our history, humans have maintained clear separation between public knowledge and military secrets. What you scanned was our open network. Our defense capabilities were developed under strict information control. On the main screen, Captain Winters spoke again. Council leadership. We require confirmation that our diplomatic team will be allowed to return safely to their vessel. We also require formal withdrawal of the Drevcal claim on Earth. One of the High Counselors, a being made of what looked like living stone, leaned forward. Captain Winters, your show of force is noted, but the Council does not respond well to threats. This is not a threat, Winters replied firmly. It's a correction of a misunderstanding. The Drevcal believed Earth to be defenseless and sought to claim it. We are simply demonstrating that we are not defenseless. The council chambers fell silent again as the High Counselors conferred privately. The Drevcal delegation received some kind of communication, their postures changing subtly. Finally, Kritik spoke again, his voice now carefully controlled. The Drevcal fleet will withdraw from human space as a gesture of good faith. We suggest the humans likewise withdraw their vessels from proximity to Council worlds. Kelly nodded. That's acceptable. Our ships will maintain a respectful distance. Once your fleet has left our system, we have no desire for conflict. Zextara's lights pulsed slowly. The Council will recess for 6 hours to discuss these developments. All parties will remain on station. As the chamber emptied, Kelly gathered his team again in their secure room. That went about as expected, he said, his voice relaxed for the first time in days. Rodriguez nodded. The Drevcal backed down quickly once they realized we weren't helpless. I suspect they've been pulling this same trick on new species for centuries. What happens now? Asked Foster. We've shown our hand. They know we're not the simple, peaceful species we pretended to be. Kelly shook his head. We never pretended to be simple or peaceful. We just didn't volunteer information about our military capabilities. There's a difference. The Council seems split on how to react, Green observed. Some are frightened, others impressed. A few seem almost pleased to see the Drevcal taken down a notch. Politics are the same everywhere, Kelly said with a small smile. We've created a new balance of power. Now we need to show that our interest in peaceful relations was genuine. Their discussion was interrupted by a message from Captain Winters. The Drevcal fleet had begun withdrawing from Earth's system. Human ships were escorting them to the boundary, maintaining a careful watch. Phase 1 complete, Kelly said. Now comes the harder part. Rebuilding trust? Rodriguez asked. Kelly nodded. They've seen what happens when humanity's polite mode switches off. Now we need to show them why it's in everyone's interest that we keep it on. Later that day, Kelly received word that a smaller council delegation wished to speak with him privately. To his surprise, it was led by Pelnari, the avian counselor who had shown curiosity rather than fear. Commander, she said without preamble, several council species wish to know more about this polite mode concept. It is unusual in galactic politics to maintain such restraint when you clearly possess superior military capabilities. Kelly considered his words carefully. Throughout human history, we learned a painful lesson. Showing strength first often prevents the need to use it later, but we genuinely prefer cooperation to confrontation. Our hope is that this demonstration will lead to more honest relations. Moving forward, Pelnari's head tilted in what might have been a nod. Interesting. Perhaps this approach has merit. I believe the council session tomorrow will be quite different from today's. As she left, Foster turned to Kelly. Sir, do you think this will work? Will they accept us now? Kelly's expression was thoughtful. They'll accept us, Lieutenant. The question is whether they'll accept us as friends or as a potential threat. That's what tomorrow will decide. The next day, the council chambers felt different. The human delegation arrived to find the seating arrangement had changed. Instead of standing on the speaking platform looking up at the council, they were now invited to sit at a table level with the high counselors. It was a small but meaningful change in status. Kelly noticed another difference. The Drevcal delegation was smaller and led by a new representative, a diplomat rather than the war strategos. Kritik was nowhere to be seen. High Counselor Zexterra opened the session, their body glowing with calm, measured patterns. After much deliberation, the Council acknowledges that we have misjudged humanity. We allowed incomplete information to lead us to false conclusions. There was a murmur through the chambers. Such admissions were rare from the Council. The human ships have maintained their positions but taken no hostile actions, continued Zexitara. They have demonstrated remarkable restraint given the provocation they received. This suggests that their claims of peaceful intentions may indeed be genuine. Kelly nodded slightly but said nothing. This was a time to listen. Another High Counselor spoke, the massive being with armored plates that had earlier dismissed humanity as primitive. The technical achievements displayed by human vessels are impressive. Your cloaking technology in particular surpasses even Drevcal capabilities. The Council would be interested in learning how humans developed such systems. We would be happy to discuss technology exchange, Rodriguez replied carefully, as part of normal diplomatic relations between equal partners. Pelnari, the avian counselor who had shown interest the previous day, stepped forward. May I ask why humans chose to conceal these capabilities initially? Most species seek to impress the Council with their achievements when first applying for membership. Kelly smiled slightly. Human history taught us a valuable lesson. When meeting new cultures, showing too much strength too quickly can be seen as threatening. We wanted to be judged on our character and culture first, not our military power. An unusual approach, commented Pelnari, but perhaps a wise one. The new Drevcal representative rose. Unlike Kritik's aggressive posture, this one's stance was more measured. The Drevcal hierarchy acknowledges the sovereignty of Earth and withdraws its claim. We propose instead a mutual defense and trade agreement between our peoples. Kelly raised an eyebrow. This was more than they had expected, a complete reversal from the previous day's aggression. We appreciate the offer, he replied diplomatically. Once Earth's status with the Council is settled, we would be open to discussing agreements with individual member species. Zexitara's lights rippled. That brings us to the matter at hand. The Council has reconsidered Earth's application in light of recent events. We propose granting humanity full independent status immediately, rather than the provisional membership typically offered to new species. A surprised murmur ran through the chamber. Full status was rarely granted so quickly. The reasoning is practical, continued Zexitara. Humanity has clearly demonstrated technological capabilities on par with established Council members. More importantly, they have shown restraint in using that power. Both qualities are valued in the Council. In the observation gallery, Foster and Green exchanged looks of surprise and relief. Did we just get fast-tracked because they're afraid of us? Foster whispered. Green shook her head slightly. Not just fear. Respect. We showed we could defend ourselves but chose not to escalate. That makes a strong impression in diplomatic circles. Back on the Council floor, formal documents were being prepared. Kelly and Rodriguez reviewed the terms carefully. Earth would have full voting rights, access to Council technology, and protection under galactic law. In return, humans would share certain technological innovations and contribute to the joint defense fleet. As they worked through the details, Pelnari approached Kelly privately. "Commander, I am curious about something," she said. "Your Captain Winters appeared quite different from your diplomatic team, more direct." Kelly nodded. "That's an accurate observation. Humans have different strengths and temperaments. Our diplomatic corps is selected for patience and understanding. Our defense forces value clarity and decisiveness. And which represents the true nature of humanity?" Pelnari asked. "Both do," Kelly replied honestly. "We contain multitudes, as one of our poets said. Humanity's greatest strength is our diversity of thought and approach. We can be diplomatic or direct, peaceful or forceful, depending on what the situation requires." "A complex species indeed," Pelnari commented. "I believe the Council will find humans to be interesting allies." The formal signing ceremony took place that afternoon. Earth was officially recognized as a full member of the Galactic Council. As Kelly signed the documents, he noticed representatives from many species watching with new interest. Some seemed wary, others curious, and a few openly approving. After the ceremony, Kelly's team gathered in their quarters, finally able to truly relax for the first time in weeks. "We did it," Rodriguez said with a genuine smile. "Not exactly how we planned, but we got there." "Will we maintain the fiction of polite mode going forward?" Green asked. Kelly shook his head. "No more pretending. From now on, we present ourselves honestly. Diplomatic when possible, firm when necessary." "What about the Drevcal?" Foster asked. "They switched from threatening to take Earth to offering an alliance pretty quickly." "They're pragmatic," Kelly explained. "Once they realized we weren't an easy target, they adjusted their approach. We'll need to watch them carefully, but I believe they genuinely respect strength. By standing up to them, we may have actually laid the groundwork for a more honest relationship." Captain Winters joined them via secure communication. "My ships will remain on standby until you're safely back in Earth space, Commander, just in case any of our new friends get second thoughts." "Thank you, Captain," Kelly replied. "But I think the point has been made. You can begin a phased withdrawal, maintaining just enough presence to remind everyone that Earth is well protected." As the human delegation prepared to return home the next day, Kelly found himself approached one last time by High Counselor Zexitara. "Commander Kelly, there is a saying among my people," Zexitara said, lights pulsing gently. "The brightest light often hides within a modest glow. I believe we have much to learn from humanity's approach." Kelly nodded respectfully. "And we have much to learn from the Council. That's why we came here. Not to threaten or dominate, but to join a community of diverse species, each with their own gifts and perspectives." "A noble sentiment," Zexitara replied. "Though I must admit, I am curious to see what other surprises humans may reveal in the years to come." Kelly smiled. "With respect, Counselor, I hope the biggest surprise is how rarely we need to turn off our polite mode at all." As their ship departed the council station the next day, Kelly looked back at the massive structure. Their mission had succeeded, though not in the way they had expected. Humanity had earned respect not just for their hidden strength, but for when and how they chose to reveal it. Set course for Earth, he told the pilot. It's time to tell them the good news. We've made some interesting new friends today, and throughout the galaxy, species began discussing the curious humans, so friendly and reasonable in their approach, yet capable of shedding that diplomatic veneer in an instant when threatened. Perhaps, many concluded, it would be wise to ensure humans had no reason to turn off their polite mode again.